Hello friend, welcome back to the Tamriel Tavern. Glad you could return. Grab a chair, take a seat. Let's talk some Elder Scrolls Online news. In today's discussion, we'll be going over the Daedra Scamp, a tiny but mischievous creature. We also get a sneak peek at the Tribunal Temple of Mournhold, and then lastly, we'll be covering the Ask Us Anything article that went over role-playing in the game. However, a lot more than just RP news was revealed, so even if you're not interested in that aspect of things, definitely stay tuned for that part of the discussion. First up, we've got an article on ElderScrollsOnline.com that goes over the Daedra Scamp. Now, scamps are small and aren't particularly intelligent, however, they're also agile combatants who delight in cruelty just as much as any of the larger Daedra. They have often been summoned to perform simple tasks, such as being messengers and servants, although they can be quite unruly and unreliable. Now, the article talks about the development of the Daedra Scamp, talks about the fact that they've taken notes from prior Elder Scroll games, and then also about the creature's personality. I definitely suggest giving that article a read if you haven't already. Next up, we've got a sneak peek at the Tribunal Temple in Mournhold in the form of a gorgeous looking desktop wallpaper which depicts the outside of the temple. Now, this temple is a place for prayer and worship to the Tribunal, who are the living gods of the Dunmere people, and pilgrims have traveled from all corners of Morrowind just to pay tribute to the Tribunal, and all you have to do is download a desktop wallpaper, so what are you waiting for? And then finally today, I'd like to go over the Ask Us Anything article that discusses role-playing in the Elder Scrolls Online. Now, as I mentioned prior, a lot more than just RP information was revealed here, for those of you not interested in that aspect of the game. So we're going to go through this bit by bit. I'd like to throw in my opinion on each one of these answers. The first question was whether or not you could play with people who aren't in your region of the world. The answer was yes, there are separate servers for the US and EU, and you can play on whatever one you like. However, you do have to be concerned about higher latency. Honestly, this is a great thing. Of course, they should be doing it this way. There's no reason to restrict. If players want to play with people in other parts of the world, they should have the option to do so, and if they get to encounter higher latency as a result, well, that is their decision. The next question asked about social functions within the game, such as player-created emotes or chat bubbles. The answer to that is yes, there are emotes. You can make your own emotes with your own text within it for RP purposes. However, there are no chat bubbles, which actually I think further feeds into what RP players would like, because chat bubbles seem kind of immersion breaking. The next question was about cross-faction chat. Now, you can talk with people of the opposite faction if you're in the same guild of them, which is an opportunity. However, they want to know if you're not in the same guild, can you still talk to people of the opposite faction? The answer to that is yes, you can talk to people of the opposite faction while you are within Cyrodiil, which is actually the only time you will ever see people of the opposite faction. However, you cannot group with people of the opposite faction, and you do have to worry about their allies attacking you while you're trying to have a conversation with them. I think that's going to make for some interesting RP elements. It's also good to know, just for, you know, harassing people. It's good to know that I can talk to other people, and if someone's being a huge noob, I can let them know that they're being a huge noob. Next question was about how interactive the world was. I wanted to know if you could walk, if you could interact with objects like chairs and ladders, if you could enter houses, also if you could set up romantic campfires, or build a resting place and purchase a blanket. Place down a blanket for the evening. So the answer to that is that walking is available. You can enter most buildings. However, there are no special camps for romantic evenings, but there's plenty of romantic vistas. They also obviously dodged the question here about interaction, something we should all keep in mind. This game isn't super interactive like prior Elder Scroll games. I don't know that you're going to be able to sit in most chairs or climb ladders, and I know for a fact that you can't pick up a lot of the objects in the environment, only some of them. So they dodged that question in their answer, but as far as I know, that is how it's going to be. The following question asked about an in-game profile and whether or not you could view a character's backstory and vital stats. The answer to that question is they have no plans for any such in-game role-playing profile. However, that may be possible via mods within the game, which raises an interesting question. How versatile will the mods for Elder Scrolls Online be? They can't be too versatile because you have to worry about balance. It basically can't be anything that would ever affect balance, but maybe just some aesthetic things and special, you know, know, special profiles for the RP's sake. It looks like that at the least is going to be a possibility. Next question here is about privacy, asking if you can basically hide your presence online. The answer of which is yes, we're going to have an invisible mode. It doesn't need to just be alts. You can have people in your friends list and still go invisible. You can have people in your guild and still go invisible, so they don't know you're online if you want to hide the fact that you're playing a lot more than you should be. Next question about armor and clothing customization and what is going to set you apart from other players. Their response was sort of a non-answer. They said that options and appearance customization is planned. However, they don't have anything they can announce right now, but they're excited to show it to us in the future. And then finally, we have some really exciting news about weather in the game. There was a question about whether or not there will be weather effects and if there's a day-night cycle. The response appears to be that there will be weather effects specific to certain zones, and there will also be a day-night cycle. For example, they said there will be snowstorms in Skyrim, but I don't know that that means that there's ever going to be a fall in Skyrim, or if it's ever going to rain in Skyrim. But there will be specific weather patterns for certain zones, and there will in fact be a day-night cycle. And I think that about does it for this week's news on the Elder Scrolls Online, so thanks again for stopping by here at the Tamriel Tavern. Glad you could make it. Be sure to stop by next week and get some more news on the Elder Scrolls Online, and make sure, once again, that you pay your tab and get the heck out of my bar. I mean, really though, role-playing? Who does role-playing? Get out of my bar. Seriously. We're closing. It's time to leave. Out!